Some people are abusers. At some point in your life, you'll meet someone that is abusive to you. Maybe you're interacting with them right now. Maybe you've always been interacting with them and you never knew because you never knew what abuse was. It could be a partner, a friend, a family member, a work colleague, a boss, a CEO. Abuse is not just physical. Physical scars you can see and they will heal. Abuse can also be psychological and emotional, and you can't always see it. And if you don't see it, you won't see the scars, and they can last for years and they will never heal. Abuse is not something that happens to other people. Abuse can happen to everyone and will happen to everyone, and it will happen to you at least one time in your life. It doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter your age, your gender, your upbringing, abuse will and can happen to everyone. And abuse is not your fault. It's important that you know what abuse is, so when it comes, and it will, you're able to identify it, protect yourself, and if possible, to leave it. Abuse is so easy to fall into because they don't show the abuse for months and they only show it to the victims, and they work so hard to keep it a secret to everyone else, and they make sure that they never caught out, either by friends or by work colleagues. That's why if you've been in a situation where you found yourself a bit confused, a bit upset, a bit frustrated, and you think something isn't quite right, and you go speak to a family member, a friend or a work colleague about it, you may find that they start defending the abuser. They'll say things like, well, I think maybe you misunderstood, or I think they didn't really mean it that way, or, well, they've always been pretty relaxed and easygoing with me. I know they have their issues, but I think maybe it's not quite as bad as what you think. But when it does happen to you, abuse will leave you so frustrated, so angry, so confused, and you won't understand why you feel such strong emotions. And you feel like you're the one going mad and you're going crazy. Abusers will try to confuse you by changing your reality. They will tell you that it's always happened for months, while you know that it's the first time or the second time. They will tell you to stop being so sensitive. They will tell you that you're the one that they're worried about, and they're deeply concerned about your attitude and your behaviour. Now, to manipulate you, they will need information about how you feel, how you think, and your emotions, because they want to use that information later on to bait you, to make you angry, to make you upset, to make you frustrated. They will use details about your life or your ambitions to push your buttons to get to you. And it will get worse and worse. Abuse never gets better. It only escalates because the abuser needs that control. They need that power. It's all about their ego and it's oxygen to them. They must have it. Abusers love conflict and love winning at it. They're smart, they're confident, and they're masters at it. But most of all, they don't want anyone to catch them in the act. So, they will bait you and make you get angry and upset, and then when you do, they will sit back in a very calm way and watch as you self-destruct, and then tell you that you're the one that's with the issue and normal people do not act like this. And you will believe them. If you don't know what abuse is and you don't recognise what they're doing and what's going on and why you're feeling so angry, frustrated, confused, thinking you've done something wrong and that you need to improve, then you will suffer and your abuse will only get worse and worse. And you may still think that it will never happen to you, and if it does, you'll leave. No, 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 no. Unfortunately, it's just not that easy. In relationships, you will stay because you will love them and you will protect them, and you will say to yourself that they didn't mean it and they maybe misunderstood you, and they're not always like this, and maybe they had issues with life and they're working on it, and because you love them and they show so much affection to you, maybe really it's not that bad, and maybe it's your fault and you need to improve because that's what they always tell you. And at work, you will stay because you need the money. You need to pay your bills. And you may tell yourself that, well, you can deal with this. And if you work really hard and stick with the goals and the KPIs and deliver the work, maybe they'll leave you alone. But they won't. Abuse will only get worse. They need that energy from you. They need it, like oxygen. And you will think it's all in your mind. And you may speak to work colleagues, and you may see them suffer a bit as well. But no one will suffer as much as you. And you will convince yourself that maybe it is you that's the problem, and not them at all. And forget about going to HR. Abusers are usually the top performers in the workplace, and abusers will work very hard to turn everyone against you, and they will succeed. If you try to out them by collecting evidence and documentation and presenting it to HR, you will find yourself being the target, and you will be the one that's forced out, and not them. You cannot win. So knowing all of this, why do people stay in abusive relationships with family members, work colleagues, CEOs, friends, bosses? They do it because they don't know it's abuse. They can't quite put their finger on it. So they suffer quietly. They tell themselves, well, maybe it's my fault. Or they say, well, it's not hurting them enough yet for them to leave. The sad reality is, you will be abused in your lifetime by a family member, a friend, a work colleague, a boss, a CEO. Make sure you know what abuse is before you suffer it. And please share this message to raise awareness and help others who might be going through it right now and don't know they're being abused and think that they're the crazy ones. In the era of Me Too, we need to stand up to abusers, and at work we need to stop rewarding them and protecting them while they cause so much suffering on their employees. Abuse can and will happen to you. Understand it now, identify it, protect yourself, and please share this video to help others.